Well, an advisory committee to the U.S. Agriculture Department is proposing updates to our dietary guidelines. The health and medical experts on the panel say Americans should eat more beans, peas, and lentils as a source of protein.
There you have it. Government agencies are now reviewing these recommendations and deciding whether to adopt some or all of them. The new dietary guidelines are expected to go into effect next year. Thankfully, we have Dr. Bayo Curry-Winchell joining us now. Dr. BC Dubs, question. When we talk about protein, we hear it over and over again. Why is it so important, and how much are we talking?
So just like you mentioned, it can be hard to understand what and how much should we get. So about 0.8 kilograms per day. What does that mean for men? About 65 milligrams, or for women, about 45 grams. Those are the parts that you want to incorporate into your diet.
What does that look like? Are we talking like a palm full of beans, or what? I mean, I can't think of what a milligram would kind of be.
I know, that can be hard. So what I tell my patients is a quarter of your plate.
Okay.
That should be your protein size for your plate.
At each meal. Okay,
Yes.
Very good. So let's talk about why these updated guidelines emphasize beans, peas, lentils. These are plant-based proteins.
They're powerhouse when we talk about nutrients and protein. And it's an easy way to diversify your diet and incorporate something that is packed with protein, which we know increases our muscle mass. It helps our immunity, all of the good things that we want to have overall great health.
What is the difference between getting this protein from plants versus getting it from animals?
So if we really lean into a plant-based protein, it can reduce our risk for heart disease. It can also reduce our overall cholesterol, all of the things that we want for longevity to have the best health overall.
Let's talk about why red meat, which has been a staple of the American diet for so long, is not a desirable option, not just nutritionally, but also environmentally.
So red meat is often processed, and it's high in saturated fat. So if you can replace that with a plant-based protein, it's amazing how that can reduce your overall risk for chronic conditions, which we know are on the rise in the U.S.
And walk us through some of those chronic conditions there.
So when we talk about diabetes, that's a big thing, as well as heart disease, all the things that are linked to red meat. And so processed meat increases your risk for all of those things.
And Dr. BCW, can you just kind of walk us through what that replacement would actually look like? So for someone who's not a foodie, not a cook, just in simple terms, would that be like you trade your red meat for a bean, you trade your salmon for, like spell it out for me.
Yes, so it's very simple. What you do is you think about strategic swapping. In my household, we do meatless Monday.
Okay.
And so for tacos, which we love, we just go ahead and add a lentil. Those are easy ways. Tofu, garbanzo beans, all of those things are an easy way just to replace. So think of your favorite recipe. Think of how you can switch that meat for a dense, rich protein like a bean or a lentil. That is an easy way and something that is sustainable.
Yeah, or even just mixing it in, as you said, to kind of beef up, no pun intended,
Yes.
the protein, right? So you're cutting it out. And also it's a cost savings, right?
It is. When we think about how expensive groceries are to this day, it's a way that you can really reduce your overall cost while adding health to your diet. So it's a win-win across the board.
I struggle because I have an almost 2-year-old, and it is like a constant negotiation to get a single vegetable in her belly. How would you sort of encourage kids, and also how would you encourage older adults who, I can think, I come from a culture where if I try to convince my uncles to trade that red meat for a bean, they're going to be like, nah, girl, take that out of here. What do we convince our elders and our youngsters?
So first, I understand that because in my household, I have one child who struggles with it as well. So what I do is I go ahead and replace it, and then I serve the dish. And then all of a sudden, I incorporate the conversation.
Just don't make it a big deal.
We are eating something that's healthy, because I think when you start with, oh, you have to take something away, it can be really hard to wrap your mind around it and say, oh, I need to do this. But if they hear about it, they're like, and they taste it.
Yeah,
It's
chefs
that
making it taste
Yes,
good.
kids.
Dr. Bayo Curry-Winchell, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
And stay right here.